So this is where it began. This is a preschool sandbox that used to be part of my program when I had a home preschool. But in 2019, when I took a pause on that and stopped teaching preschool, I made this hexagon sandbox into a butterfly garden. So it doesn't look like much now. It's March 23rd. It's 41 degrees, zone 7A. But I think it's important to start here because it certainly doesn't look like much this time of year. And as you can see, I am making a new little area over there on the side, and over there on the right, that's a panicle hydrangea, and it actually has big, beautiful white blooms that turn to pink. But underneath, in the shade part, I'd like to probably put some hellebores. And over here, where the black pot is, I'd like to put a small shrub because I have so much green, big block of green. We have hedges, and then this big holly tree, and more hedges all around the yard. So it's nice to break it up and look outside your window and see something pretty. It seems a little unbalanced. Now, I'll show you closer the things that are coming up in the garden. But one thing I wanted to mention was probably the worst advice I'd ever gotten for gardening is to go to your garden store at different times of the year to see what's in bloom so you'll know what to put in your garden. Well, I started this garden in June of 2019, and I just picked up a bunch of plants that I had heard were good for butterflies and stuck them in there. And of course, at that time, I didn't really give much thought to sun patterns or even what kind of soil it was or water patterns. So things have come and gone over the years, and that happens in gardens anyway. But garden centers usually have greenhouses and everything set up, so when you go in March, there are plants available for you. When you go in April, there are plants, and so on and so on. So really, they're a month or two ahead. And what ended up happening was each year I'd wait for my garden to come to life, and everything happens, it seems, in July. So this was the first year that I decided to start adding things that I'll see in the spring. It adds color when I look out my window instead of just for the butterflies. So anyway, this is what's happening in March. Doesn't seem like much, does it? But last year I added these tiny little, maybe you can see, cat mint, cat's pajamas, so they're going to be small, and they'll drape over the side. And then, let's see, this is a butterfly bush. I usually trim it back, but it really didn't die this year, so I'm going to leave it to see what happens. Okay, over here, this is John Creech sedum, I believe. And in back of it, the autumn joy is starting to come up. Let's see. There are many things you won't be able to see right now because they're still dead. This clump is coneflower, echinacea, which is really, really pretty. And in this basket, can't see anything yet either. I planted a new little balloon flower last year. There's so much stuff that's supposed to come up. I have a veronica right around here that sometimes comes up and sometimes doesn't. I'm going to move it this year because it's kind of buried in the back. And that was another thing I did. I've moved things around a lot because, as you can see in the back, that is all Shasta daisies that I moved to the back because they used to be right in the middle. And the first year, I only had 3 stems. And of course, people who are gardeners know that things, perennials especially, get better and bigger every year. So in the middle, just took over the whole garden, and it was just daisies. So I moved them all to the back, so they provide like a nice white backdrop to the color that comes in later. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I can really show that's popping up, but oh yeah, this is happening. But let me see these kind of purpley flowers. Those are called sundrops or yellow evening primrose. They were given to me by a neighbor, and I didn't know they were a ground cover. So I put like one little plant in here, and this is the 3rd year, so they kind of take over this whole area. And I really don't mind it, but it's the first thing that pops up and it's very yellow and pretty. So this year I picked up some alliums, Purple Sensation, and you might see right here, one was eaten already, so I put one, and two, and then I did have a third one here to see how it looked behind all the yellow flowers when they pop up, because they also get taller each year. The first year they were very short, they were like 6 inches, and then now they get to be about 10 inches, I think. So over here, let's see, this thing is a very small cone flower. It's bright pink and it's pretty, but the rabbits eat it, so it doesn't last too long. That is one little volunteer daffodil that popped up. Right here is New England aster, which is actually really, really pretty, but next to it, that you can't see at all because it's not coming up yet, is orange butterfly weed. And again, the first year that plant was very small, and now it takes up this whole area. But it's so beautiful, and it's orange, and the butterflies love it and the bees love it, but it really dwarfs this little guy. So it has pretty purple flowers and it's short, so I'm going to transplant that this year also more to the front and move some of these evening primroses out. Let's see what else that I wanted to talk about. In the middle, you can't see again, they're just little sticks, but in the future videos you'll be able to see it. That is ice ballet milkweed, and that's white and it has a vanilla scent. And that also, the only thing with that milkweed is a swamp milkweed, and they get lots of aphids on them, so that's kind of a pain. It doesn't look very attractive, but it doesn't hurt the plant and it doesn't hurt the butterflies. And in the back I used to have a corner, like a middle stone was a pretty lilac colored butterfly bush, but that's died since then, so violets come up in its place. Last year I also planted, let's see, Rebecca, so black-eyed Susans, one over there and one over here. And then I get Leatris or Leatris, I don't know how you say it exactly. Blazing Star comes up in that corner. So there'll be a lot to see soon. But I remember as a beginning gardener too, I like to see how things start because it almost looks like really messy and really depressing. But I did use the fabric the first year that came with the Sandbox to block the weeds coming up. But over time, I've tried to take some of it out. Like I'll take more out over there because I planted a new little baby butterfly bush back there to see if it takes. I like to move plants around. I like to share plants with my friends and neighbors. And I'll take anything and just try it and plant it in here and see what happens. So right now, again, it's very ugly. It looks very unkempt. But pretty soon, things are going to start happening. Oh, in this pot over here, I just transplanted some flowering chives. They're one of the first plants that come up every year, and they look really pretty. But I keep dividing them and sticking them in buckets and giving them away because I don't really have a lot of space, as you can see, even though I'll show you other parts of where I've expanded the garden. I wish I could have pretty borders like other people have, but my whole yard is bordered with hedges, privacy hedges, and I love them, but we need to get in there and be able to trim them every year. There's the old play set, so that's part of the yard. It's a very small suburban lot, and that's that. So that's my introduction. Thank you for watching. Bye.